Okay, good morning, everybody. Sorry to get a late start. Happy Sunday. There's a lot going on right now, so I'm going to try to roll with this. Turn this down a little bit. Like phone calls and stuff going all over the place. I may not even be able to stream. I may have people visiting. We're getting our carpets replaced. Our landlord has decided to replace our carpets. We asked them to because the carpets are old and the seams are coming up and they just need to be replaced. So they're coming out to measure the floors and stuff. So if the doorbell rings, I'm going to take a break and whatever. So also, I've got news from my mom about some stuff and I need to call her. There's a Lego meeting today. But I also said that I was going to get these drawings done this weekend. So I'm really going to try to get these drawings done. So first things first, welcome. Ben's Brick Designs. I'm Ben. Today's going to be a bit of a departure. We're going to do some drawing stream stuff. I'm going to work on some robot portraits. Now, if you're not familiar with the robot portraits that I used to do, I've taken most of that off social media. I don't think it's on Instagram or anything. I used to do it a lot. I would get 1 or 2 orders a month, so it wasn't like it was paying my bills, but it was paying for a coffee every once in a while. And one of my old Flickr friends from a long time ago wanted or had asked for me to do a couple more, so I'm going to do that. Let's see. So the pictures are going to be let's see. There's going to be a small one of one person, and then a big one of their wedding, because I think their anniversary is coming up. This is, I think, her daughter. Yeah. Before I say anything, I don't really care. So what I usually do is I will pull up the photo and then just sketch out really lightly what I'm going to be doing. And in the past, because I was used to it, I would just ink over the pencil drawing because I kind of knew what roboticness would go where to put the pneumatic joints or the pneumatics, or the joints, or the cables, or the warning labels, or the panels, kind of typical robot stuff. So this might be a bit more intense because I haven't done it in a while and it may take a little longer to draw. But I have all my supplies here. I'm ready to go. But it's going to be a process of getting this started and done. Meantime, I wanted to show you this. So this is, and I've got a new little layout here that's got, in the corner here, I've got some, I think I can do this a little better than that, like that. I've got some drawings that I used to do down there as the slideshow instead. So this happened recently. A long time ago, I was commissioned to do a artwork for an app on an iPad, and it was a children's book / game. So you'd read a story, and then there were games that kind of were interspersed along the story. And then you could play the games individually later. So I had to do all the artwork for the story itself, and then all the artwork for the games as well. So I got paid pretty good. It wasn't a ton of money, but it was a really good amount of money. I think for what I did, I could have probably got a little more. But for what I turned out, it was probably a fair amount. So it was the probably most concise or concerted effort to do any single piece of work ever. So a couple months ago, or a month ago, maybe even not that long ago, the guy who wrote it, Ed Garris, I'm not sure, I've never heard his name spoken in person. It's all been Facebook and text and stuff. Messaged me and said that he had turned it into a book. And it's available on Barnes & Noble on demand, print on demand. But he sent me a couple copies, and it's really neat. It's really neat to see something that I've done as a as a book. There's the dedication, and then so there you go. And it's a story about a pigeon and his dad. And it's a really cute story about like figuring out who you are and kind of realizing that you can be more than people think you are. So I liked it. It turned out pretty good. I rushed a lot of it. It just needed to get done in some cases. So while it wasn't the best of my ability, I kind of felt like I needed to get some things done. And like this panel is great. I kind of pushed myself a little bit on that one. But I also wanted to keep kind of a style with the humans. And I had to come up with a style for the pigeon too. So I'm going to get you my favorite panel with the pigeons. This is my favorite part of the drawing, is the different kind of qualities of each of the pigeons. So we've got the main character right here, and I forget what his name is, Cooper. And then there's like another one who kind of looks like Cooper, a little smaller. Then there's this guy who I feel is voiced by Steve Buscemi. Then we've got the twins, right? And then we've got this big doofus with the wall-eyed. He's my favorite. He's just like, all you hear in his brain is boo. So yeah. So that's great. I'll put this up on a link on the description if you want to order it. If you've got kids, I think it's $10 or $11 or something like that. So give it a look. I appreciate it. I've already been paid for this. I don't think I'm getting any sales commissions or anything from this. I don't think it's going to sell like hotcakes, and I'm totally willing to let Ed have all the fun with figuring all that out. So, but I thought I'd share. So, so this is going to be the first part. Now I'm low on paper, so I'm going to have to do, so this is our wedding invitation, or the guest book. This was something I did for our guest book. It was a Geeks Who Drink style guest book, and it was just tear off pieces of paper, and it had leave your name and who you are, and then underneath ask us a trivia question, and then we'd answer the trivia question. We were so bad about it. I ordered 3 of these booklets, and I think we got like 8 questions, so I've got like 300 of these things flying around. So this is kind of all the paper I have. It's not cardstock like I like to do it on, but it's a little more toothy, so it'll take some of the ink a little better. Now I'm going to be doing one 5x7 and one 8x10. So I don't know really how big these are. 9x12. So I need to cut these down first and then start sketching. I'm live, right? It's hard to know when you're not interacting with anybody. I know Brick Hive is on, and I usually don't get a lot of people. And I usually don't. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. All right, so I don't need the paper anymore. I also I have 2 of these drawing pads, and they're kind of the same tooth. They're medium. That's actually a little, I don't know. But then I've got this watercolor paper, and I've tried doing watercolor paper, but drawing on watercolor paper isn't as good. So you end up, the pencil's fine, but then when you try to ink, it gets a little jumpy. And I'm more heavily reliant on the inking part of it, so. I'd like to show you guys the build that I just did, but 1, nobody's in here, so it doesn't really matter. But 2, it's kind of all over Instagram and stuff, so. All right, so we'll get terrified of my setup here. Everything's kind of janky, and I'm worried I'm going to kick the camera. What's the gain set on this? Okay. Should be pretty direct. All right, so we've got one 5x7. And 5x7, once you think about it, is not that big. So this is all the bigger it is, right? It's already kind of creased right there. That should go away when I'm doing inking or watercolor. So I will do watercolor on these too. But one of these is going to be, I'm going to do a time lapse, and then put the video up on YouTube. That's usually what I would do for like an extra $5 or something. Some of my supplies are so old and just have been sitting there for years. They're just cobwebs and stuff all over it. Yeah, so 8x10. Good morning. How's it going? On topic, do you prefer pen and ink or pencil and lead? Like for doodling or casual? For doodling, I like actually using ballpoint pens. There's something fun about the way you can kind of lightly draw with them, and they're a bit sketchy, and then you can kind of push down a little harder, and it lets a little more ink out, and you can kind of solidify it a bit. I haven't done hardly anything in so long that I don't even really remember. Some of my favorite pens are brush pens, though. Just because they, it's like inking with a nib, but with the control of a marker. You don't have to worry about dipping it every time, and I never really got the hang of doing nibs and wells. I still would rather draw physically. I could never get the hang of. I have a Wacom tablet, Wacom, however it's pronounced. Let's see. Time lapse of the wedding pic. Okay. So this one I'll sketch out. This one I can sketch out and draw. So I think I have a pencil sharpener back here. If I don't, I'm going to be really sad because I'm going to need it, and I don't know where I may have taken it. I thought I did. Maybe it's in my office. So 2H is pretty good. 4H is probably better for some sketching. I don't want to get too crazy with how light it is. And sometimes I would do sketching with like blue pencil or red pencil if I was going to. Back in the day when I was doing comic books, I would draw everything outlined or do rough sketches in blue pencil, because what you can do is then rough sketch all over the place all you want, go back and ink exactly what you want. You have this messy pencil underneath, but then what you can do is when you scan it, you can drop out that channel, right, blue, whatever, and you just got the line art. And then there's a whole process of like making sure you have the line art pulled out into its own layer, so you can do channel or layers of color underneath it, do your flats, do your highlights, do your shading. It's a process, and I haven't done it in a long time. So all right, so this guy, that's the picture I'm going to use, and he's going to be a Gundam from this picture. So this is usually what I get. I'll get a photo, and then all I'll do is turn it into like, I just draw the exact same drawing. In some cases, I have just like put the paper up to the screen and like, just drawn what is on the screen. you know, just kind of trace over it so I've got the right look. Because I've run into people who, despite them sending me one photo, they constantly come back saying, it really doesn't look like them. I'm like, it's a robot. It's not supposed to look like them. It's supposed to look somewhat like them. If you wanted a lot like them, hire a professional portrait artist who would charge you $500-600 to paint them. That's your call. I'm charging you $25 because this is going to take me a day to do. So, real quick, you know, kind of gesturally. Now here's the other thing is I need a Gundam. I kind of forget what Gundams look like. And I don't have any idea what, just probably Gen 1 Gundam basic. I need something with his head and shoulders. I want to show the whole body. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a chibi one. Let's do this one. This is the one in Japan. That's a pretty good one, so we'll use that too. I don't know what I just did, but all right. So we've got that image. I'll put that. I'll make his head the Gundam head, and then his squinty little braces face here. I'll figure out something to do with the lei and the badges and maybe the American flag. Maybe I'll make it a Japanese flag back there. All right. So, so this isn't going to really show up very well on camera, the sketchy part, and I apologize for that. But I mean, you can see it's really lightly drawn, and then I'll go back over it with pen and ink. He's got his ears sticking out, and then the Gundam part is going to have, I'll have this thing and this thing, and then this thing coming off, and then that down here. See, they sent me one of this guy as a kid. So I'm going to make as much of it as Gundam-y as I can, but then keep his face. And again, these are quick drawings. They're not meant to be super fine art or anything. It's like going to the amusement park and getting a caricature done. That's pretty much all I'm going to do there. I'm going to do that and that. Oh, also I need to be working on kneading this guy up, because he hasn't been used in a while. So tacky. As long as I keep the pencil lines light, this will pull right off with the kneaded eraser. Oh, and my dogs are going crazy. Making sure I'm not getting any phone calls. So how's everybody doing? I love it when I can hear my dogs playing in there and then they need a break and they go drink a lot of water. They're like little kids. They're like, playtime, but now I'm thirsty. Yeah, I don't want to do too much more because it'll not look like him. So give him some eyebrows. And I'm wondering, should I give him glasses? I'll give him glasses because he's got glasses on in this picture. I did a drawing one time of somebody and I didn't give them glasses because it wouldn't have looked right, because they, again, the person who asked for it was like, they really like X and try to incorporate that into the drawing. And I was like, okay, well, I can't really make it work like that with his glasses. And they're like, I don't even know who that is. I'm like, okay, well, sorry. I don't know what Gundam necks look like either. They're mostly hidden behind giant pieces of chest armor. Yeah, it's hard to tell. There's a big shadow where neck probably should be. So I feel like I can take some liberties with that. So we're going to make it kind of robot-y, but more mech-ish. And he's still going to have his sash. Or his, yeah, it's a sash. Going across with his badges, because that's important. So he's going to have badges, 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 badges. I don't think I'm going to be able to put the label on it, but I'm going to put the Boy Scout symbol over here. Don't remember much of the Boy Scout symbol. It's kind of a fleur-de-lis with some stuff on it. And that'll be it. I think that's all I'm going to do. All right. So, immediately into inking, which is why this is so quick. So here's my inking supplies. I have just a ton of pens in here, but for the most part, I have to make sure that they're sharp because these brush pens tend to blunt a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. They tend to get a little blunt on the end. There's a trick you can use. You can pull the tip out and swip it. There's two tips in there. You can pull it out and turn it around, and the other side should be good. But I also don't know how much ink is in all these. So there's some ink in that. That's a pretty good one. All right, keep that one. I'm also going to use some microns just because it's good for straight lines for robots. I think the 8 is still good. Yeah, that's still good. And then my 5. The 5 is giving out. Okay. Then I have a real small one, 3, but then I have like an 05 for shading. That's another 8. That's another 5. Where's my 005? There it is. Super fine 005. Yeah, that one's still real good. That one's good for like shading and stuff. So first thing I'll usually do is do the face details with a micron. And then the brush stuff is an outline. The outline is usually a brush pen. But I want to make sure to get as much detail. And I hate doing this because I feel like I have to get close. My eyes are all crappy. So I'm going to try to do it without that, but still keep it in camera. Also, my art tends to skew to the upper right. If I flip it over and look at it like in the light, I can see it is all like slanted. And it's one of those things where I don't see it like this, but then when I look at it here, I'm like, oh God, everything is like, and I'm not sure what visual cue that is or what visual distinction that is, but it's just weird. And I feel like a little bit of it is because my face is a little asymmetrical. Like I got one nostril that's a little bigger than the other. My hair kind of both grows this way. I got one muscle that works this way, one muscle that works this way. So I feel like I'm compensating for the way my face grows. And because that's what you look at to learn how to draw faces, a lot of that kind of subconsciously exaggerates itself. Because you're like, no, that's what I see when I look in the mirror. But if I ever look in like a camera that doesn't mirror, I'm like, that's not me. That doesn't look like me. And I do that when I draw. Where did that big statue go? Because I want to make sure I get this right. There it is. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So we'll do, I want to do bigger than 5 for that. I don't know if you can hear outside. Got a nest of barn swallows that they are just so mad at everything right now. And then I go outside and they're all just like, what? What? All right, so that's roughly to there. Can already tell that's off and I don't like it, but you get what you pay for. I wouldn't call him a friend, but I've got an acquaintance on online that does mechs. He drew for like IDW, Transformers, and some of his favorite things to draw are just mechs of any kind. He had a short-lived book called Tech Jacket, and I think it was through Image, and it was really good. But he's so amazing at drawing mechanized stuff. Okay. What was I using? The 8. All right, let's do the face now. I've got the jitters out a little bit. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just making sure that I don't have any messages or anything. Okay. Back to the boy. My problem is, even when I'm drawing what I want to be very solid lines, they end up being very sketchy. Like, I equate it to like hesitation stab wounds. Like I have hesitation line art. Not very confident. Which is why it'd probably be better for me to learn how to draw digitally, but I just don't like, I've tried it and there's something I don't like about it. I feel like it doesn't translate real well for me. Gundams don't have eyes per se, they're yellow, so we're gonna do, it's gonna be black. And he's gonna have yellow eyes because that's what Gundams have. They have like angelic cherub faces, like Transformers have the same thing where they're all very just carved out of marble kind of thing. Thing go across like that. It's got a little thing right there. And then kind of go up like this. I also have a problem, and this is a recognizable, I like how I have all these recognizably weak characteristics of my art where I don't connect lines, so there's a lot of, it doesn't feel like it's very floaty. And honestly, like if I were just drawing by myself, I would be like this close. Get a good shot of my bald spot or whatever back there. Hang on real quick, the doorbell is ringing. 1 second. I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben, I'm Rafa. We're just going around in the neighborhood talking to people about the governor's race and about Beto. Just want to see if we have your support.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, man.
If our HOA would let us put up signs, we'd have Beto signs all over the place. So.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah.
I figured you were on the home team.
Yeah, we were at the rally down on Pan American Park.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's good stuff. We're in.
Right up, brother.
Cool.
Good one, man.
You too. Cheers. Okay, sorry about that. Canvassing for support for the governor's race. Now you can already see I've messed up the glasses. One set of lenses is bigger than the other set. Not real happy about that. I feel like I'm rushing, but I'm not. I feel like I'm rushing, but I'm not going very fast, you know? Let's see. I'm gonna put this big chin thing here. And then his face comes down. Okay, Drawing and chatting is not an easy thing either, because you don't want to be too distracted while you're drawing, but you also want to be engaging to everybody. Yep, messed that up too. All right. So I usually have a point where I'm like, yeah, I've messed too much up. I'm not even going to try really hard after this. It's kind of a crap way of doing it, but... So now we can use the brush pen to fill in these little areas. Get a thicker black right there. So, 72 hours coming up next week. A week from, like, a week and 20 minutes from right now. Because I'll be starting at 11 o'clock instead of 10. So, mark your calendars. And I will be doing, if I get 500 subscribers, we'll be doing a giveaway, and I'll be building the UCS B-Wing. So that'll be fun. So I'll be prepared with something to give away. At that point. So there have been Lego rumors going on. First of all, the not Mustang, not Corvette, Camaro. The Camaro pictures have coming out. It's been out for a few days, but they look pretty good. I was talking about this last time, and I don't know if I'm going to get that one. but it's a likelihood because I'm a big sucker for those cars. Trying to keep my light source consistent here. See, like right there, nothing's connected. It looks just like very floaty and fake because I'm not really confident about where all these lines go. This should go in front of all that, and that goes behind it. But they all kind of join in one spot. Let's see, I'm gonna have to make up the shading over here. Oh, let's do the glasses. That's a 3. I need the I should have left a little bit of that. Oh, now I feel bad. Usually I leave a little bit of a line right here to do like a, you can see I did it there, but not up here. Leave a little bit for the light to glow on from coming from behind, like wrapping around it. But I didn't, because I am a doofus. Okay, this music today. Let's do Surprise Me. See what happens. Well, that song was even worse than the song that I just left. Okay. Ooh, big bump on the camera. Sorry about that. Freehand drawing very quickly a circle is the most nerve-wracking thing, especially when you can't get really close to it. Okay. All right, so far not bad. What do y'all think? This whole area is going to be shaded up to about here. Actually, no, it's going to be a little lit because I went to color. In fact, I should outline that very small. I want these little bits. I like labels and stuff where there's writing, but I'm never able to really reproduce that without actually doing the writing. Hopefully just leave that blank. All right, let's look at this sash again. Unidentifiable patches. So I'm gonna do the sash first. Not even gonna make it a robotic sash. I'm gonna make an actual sash. I think these are all gonna be kind of done with colors later. I'm just gonna make some colorful shapes inside these circles. I'm not gonna get too technical with because I drew them wrong. I'm gonna have to All right, so the details are done now. Time to start outlining a little bit. So the things that are the foremost are going to be his chin. And these things right here. Fade those a little bit back. Right, then this is going to be a little bit. And then that is going to be a little bit. And then the sash needs to pop a little bit. Okay. And this needs to be shaded. All right, line work is done. So that took an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Let's go ahead and erase, and maybe I can get to coloring this one. And then I can do the wedding one tonight. Maybe I'll get the sketches for it done today. So we do have probably do this one, not that one. I get a lot of these where it's the wedding photo where they're just kind of standing there, and it's very unexciting to do as anything. So it'll probably be this one. A couple of things I hate about trying to robotize stuff is the flowers. It's hard to make those into metal, so I just don't even try. I just kind of squiggly it up and make some cables come out of it, make it look like springs and gears and whatever, circuit boards. But this would be a good pose to do, I think, for this size. In fact, I can hold this up to the page and say, yep, that's a good shape and size. I can do that for later. So that's good to know. So now we'll take kneaded eraser and go over it. Get rid of some of these. There's another trick you can do if you're going to do watercolors or you're trying to get pencil line off there, is to do your sketches with watercolor pencil. There's a thing called watercolor pencil, and once you're done with your sketches, your sketching part of it, your pencil, your layout, and your gestural drawing, is you can then go over it with your inks, and you get waterproof ink, right? And I think most of these are waterproof. The pens are anyway. Yeah, waterproof. I don't know if you can read that. Make sure you get waterproof ink. Most pens are gonna be waterproof. Most ink is gonna be waterproof. Micropink, waterproof, and fade-proof lines. The reason for that is then you draw with your watercolor pencil, and then do your inks over it, and then lay a piece of damp paper towel on the picture, and you can basically just wipe the pencil away. It sort of rehydrates the watercolor pencil, and then you can kind of wipe it away. It's kind of a cheat because what they want you to do is draw with it, then go over with watercolor, and then it doesn't impact the drawing when you go over it with watercolor. But if you don't like drawing with watercolor pencil and you just want to do some gestural stuff ahead of time, I don't really need to do a whole lot of erasing. Most of it was on this sash to get rid of some of these extra circles. I'm pretty sure that all the pencil line lined up with what I wanted to do in the final inks. So there's your 20-minute drawing of a guy who's a scout at one point and likes Gundams. All right. I wasn't prepped for watercolors, so I'm gonna have to do that later. But you can kind of see this is all gonna be blue, right? Leave some white patches here. This is gonna be gray or white here. Head's gonna be white except for this blotch of red. A couple little red things under his eyes and under his chin. Sash is gonna be the same color as the actual sash, so like a green. Let's see if... Oh, where was it? Sorry, hang on. Yeah, so it'll be green, like an army green, and then just random colored patches in there to make it look like he got his, he's a Gundam, so he got his asteroid blasting patch, and he got his Ikari Circus missile launching patch, and he got his transformation patch or something. So for $25, you basically get like an hour's work. That's an hour's work. All right. So for the big one, let's go ahead. I've got a little time left, and let's do the sketching for the wedding picture. So we're going to do, I'm just going to do the sketching because the rest of it's going to be done in a time lapse. And the time lapse, I want to start with the ink. So what I'll do is I'll probably end up taping this down. Get some painter's tape, tape this down, probably like, however you can see it best. I don't really want to compromise being able to draw it, so I'll tape it up here like that. Do the sketching ahead of time, do the ink, and then when it's taped down, do the watercolor. The reason you tape it down is because when you put water on the paper, it warps. So by taping it down, it keeps it at least a little stable, so you're not like, because otherwise it'll curl and do all kinds of stuff, and then you're trying to paint over it being curled up, and it acts funny, and you're running into things. So try to do that. All right, so back to the pencils. The other thing is with young kids, especially like in this picture, and girls, females, it's hard to do this kind of work because you don't want to overdo it, because adding lines to people's faces age them. And so when you've got young kids, you're doing family pictures of young kids or female subjects, you got to be careful you don't artificially age them. And I'm purposely doing this so most of the flowers are off the thing. And so is her hair for the most part, but alright, so that's kind of the gestural drawing. Suits are also kind of boring to do. Clothing in general is kind of boring to do. I like close-up pictures. I like being able to really get in to people's faces to do drawings, more character that way. Far off pictures of people wearing suits is kind of like, I don't think as creative or as fun. So you got a nice little tattoo on there. Looks like a dog with a crown. Like a pug or something with a crown. It's pretty cool. What's up, Macro? Hey, you just missed... so this is the first one. It's this dude that I'm doing now, but it's him as a kid, and he had a scout badge, sash with a bunch of scouts on it in the Boy Scouts. So, but he also likes Gundam, so did a Gundam Head on him. And now we're doing this photo, and we're sketching it out to do the same thing, turn them into robots. It's a good time. It's a living. So my son has started to be interested in drawing too, and I'm very excited about that. And I told him he needs to get his notebook and fill it up with, 100 drawings of hands and whatever. So believe it or not, I used to do this when I was not doing a whole lot of Lego. This is what I was doing. People, shockingly, would pay for this garbage. But then the orders started drying up and I started getting back into Lego, and I'm like, you know what? I like this more. You're also drawn to the ideals. Like, I know people young kids generally don't have double chins or anything, but there is still a little bit like a layer of fat under people's chins, unless you're like a marathon runner or something where you have 0% body fat. But so you have this comic book ideal of like these chiseled jaw lines for everybody. But then when you draw real people, they almost never have that defined jawline. And when you draw them, they end up looking like toes. They just have this shoulder into the top of the head toe thing, like their neck blew a bubble. And without it, it's kind of not a very exciting drawing. So there's a fine line there. You can't be too complicated on the teeth. You can't be too messy around certain areas because it looks like they'll have giant gaps where their teeth should be. So there's there's gives and takes. It's like, what's important to the drawing? Like, despite the fact that I know this is a very young couple, like, you don't want to add too many lines or else it looks like a crone and an old man. So you got to be real careful about where you put the lines, how dark they are. That's almost to the point where she's too old looking, you know? And then the hairline, and then the crown. She's got a tiara because she's a pretty princess and it's her fucking day. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear there. And she's got like a choker. And then the dress comes down. Right about there. And the neck. Actually, the dress comes a little lower than that, but I also don't want to be creepy about it. Alright, dude's got glasses, which is going to obscure a lot of his face. So, get the eye line. If I can lower this so you can see it a little better. I don't want to get too much in the way, but that's a little better. So he's got a pretty straight nose. The forehead. He's also smiling. Short upper lip. And pulled back cheeks. And he also has kind of a rounded. And there's no jawline there. But as long as it looks like him, sort of. And then glasses right on top of the cheeks. And this is also going to be a problem. He's got like kind of fussy hair. Kind of a weird cut. And the part's kind of up here like this. I think it comes over a little bit. Like that. And his shoulder comes out of his chin right there and just drops off. Okay. It's a little higher up than that. All right. Okay, the arm is right here. Young, thin people have no real definition in like their limbs or anything. They're just kind of noodles, shapeless noodles. And when you get a flash photography on it, it's almost impossible to tell like where their elbows are, where their forearm muscles are. They will occasionally have like wrist bones that pop out, or this bone in the elbow right there, that'll pop out. But other than that, it's really hard to kind of get the skeleton. It's like, just draw a pool noodle. You'll be fine. So then her clavicle, you can see that. That'll connect to her back of her head there. Some of this will be erased. And you do see a little bit of her back kind of coming under like this. And then his hand is under here. Thumb's gonna be up, so thumb will be up. This is a weird angle because all you're gonna see is sausage fingers. You're just gonna see this like dead on thing. And then his other hand is holding down here. I can't really get a good... Oops. Their arms cross a bit. His elbow is going to be basically behind the flowers. His coat a little farther up. And then her hand kind of drapes. So you kind of do gestural drawings like that with the hands first, and then go in later and do knuckles and whatever they're holding on to. All right, that's not far enough away, or it's too close to the wrist, one of the two. That's a little better. Her hand is a little smaller. Okay, so it's at this point I'll probably start doing a layout areas that would be roboticized. So I got the general look that I want, right? I got their faces where they need to be. Oh, I forgot something. She's got an arm. I'm gonna cut this a little closer because she has an arm coming up behind her to hold her hair stuff in. So that's coming like right off. There's a foreshortening bit, so you're not going to see the back of the arm or the underside of the arm. But you'll get a crease, and then kind of right into her. So it's not exactly spaced very well because I'm trying to guess where everything is, but you don't see a hand. I don't want to mess up the face too much because I like where the face was going there for a second. You line up the shoulder, so you got a shoulder here, right? You got the shoulder joint, got kind of the delts back here. Collarbone is going to drift into that. That'll be cut up a little bit. But then you want to Make sure that arm lines up. He's probably a little taller than this. Like, I think the gap between their faces and the actual photo is a bit more, but I want to keep the composition good to this size of paper. And then hair come down. Just got hair down to about there. Hair's going to be weird. I don't like drawing robot hair either, but, and then the veil actually comes down a long way. So, and then flowers, these streamers coming off the flowers. We'll just do something with that later. So that's the basic pen sketch or pencil sketches, right? These will all be erased once the ink lines get over it. Let's see, that's a 2H, so 4H. I might go a little bit harder into like some things that could be roboticized. Thank you, Macro. I've been drawing since I was a baby, so it's not exactly like riding a bike. Like, I don't ever think I won't be able to draw. But there are chances that you take. The more you draw, the more chances you take to push yourself, and it'll show up in the work. Like, there was a period of time where I was really, like, you can see some of the art in the lower corner right here. It's a lot of robot portraits. There's another wedding right there. That actually is pretty fun because it was a little dynamic. But yeah, I like the close-in portraits like that, where you can kind of do some fun stuff with, be creative with hair and, neck stuff. I don't know what that was. It was a diner, a roller bot. I don't know what I was doing there. Some other artwork that might come up. You can see when I was doing comic book stuff, I was really pushing it, and I was drawing like every day. I was doing comic book pages. I was doing contests. I was doing challenges with my group, and I was really happy with like some of the stuff. Let me see if I can find something that I'm really happy with. So I basically have stopped for that long. The last time I did a robot portrait was probably a couple years ago. I didn't hardly draw anything during the pandemic. I've had a couple of people approach me and say, can you do... So here, you weren't on earlier. This was something I had done for an iPad app. And the guy just turned it into a book just about a month ago. So this is stuff I did for like a story, a mobile story. So it's very cartoony. And I had to do a lot of artwork for it. But I did this in like 2011, right? And it's all very cartoony, so I could keep a certain style throughout. And it was easier to keep a certain style by doing that. But... let's see. I also drew a lot of hobos. See if we can find some hobos. There was a period of time where I was drawing stuff from John Hodgman's The Areas of My Expertise. So stuff like this, where it was just real quick. A lot of robots in there. Stuff like this, just weird, let's see if there's one in here I really like, because I didn't keep a whole lot. This was when I was starting to especially do a lot of computer coloring stuff. Yeah, actually, let me... So the book wasn't my idea. The book was, I was commissioned to do a bunch of artwork for a children's book on a mobile platform. And it had games and stuff that went along with it. He only recently, the 10, 11 years later, turned it into an on-demand book. And he was just like, hey, I did this. And I'm like, okay. He didn't ask if he wanted to do it. He's just like, I'm just going to do it. I'm like, all right. But this is the comic book. This is the comic book I tried to put out. I did a little ash can for it. It was called Project Gemini. It was these superpowered twins that would hunt robots. So this was like a little promo for it. I was actually really happy with how this turned out. It's got some good panels in it. Some stuff I would redo, but overall I liked it a lot. And then this was the one that I took to Chicago. I didn't ink it, it's just pencil, but it's all written. It's got a full story. And it's the same twins. They've got superpowers and they hunt robots, but they hunt them. They're like bounty hunters for the government. And they hunt rogue robots. But then the story goes that they find out they're not actually rogue. It's a whole society that's been hidden from. It's kind of like a Battlestar Galactica story where we made robots, then they disappeared, and then they've come back. In the meantime, humanity has kind of evolved. So there's going to be a war between like superpowered people and robots, and like average people get kind of caught in the crossfire. And so this is these guys trying to skirt that world, these two worlds of the robots and the superpowered people. So, yep. Everything that's happened before will happen again. I still can't wrap my brain around the Ronald D. Moore new Battlestar Galactica thing. Like, the way they describe it is not from point A to point B. It's very much, I don't know. The whole history of it's kind of a, kind of weird. Let's see if I've got anything non-robot, non-hobo in here. Few and far between, because I think most of what I saved it's also numbered. So if I get down past the numbers, I should have something else. These are all photos of the kids. This is one of my favorite drawings. It's Baal versus the Leviathan, and I've always wanted to go back and like redo this and ink it. I just really like the energy in this. It was a challenge on one of the message boards that I was a part of to draw gods or something. What's up, Brick Pasta? How are you? There's a lot of pictures of the kids. I did a Flickr dump and just grabbed everything before Flickr went pro and started pulling down all of our artwork or all of my stuff because it had to be under 100 images or 1,000 images or something. Yeah, I'm trying to find some stuff that I really liked. Maybe it's at the end. Some more robot stuff. I did lettering for people too for a while. Just they gave me artwork and I would letter their books. So that was fun because you got paid and it wasn't that hard work. And then I was involved in a web comic. So we would each take turns doing an issue of a web comic. It's called Awesome Storm Justice. I did a couple like wedding gifts for people. So this was a wedding gift I did for people. Yeah, I watched Caprica. I was actually kind of enjoying Caprica when it got canceled. It wasn't the best show, but I was enjoying it. And I figured that answered some of the questions, but at that point, Caprica and Humanity had already, this was another cycle. Like the Humanity on Caprica was already, like somebody had already left and started another, like this was the society that became from the war. It's, I don't know. It's like really weird. This is one of my favorites. It's kind of small. So this is when The Walking Dead was still just a comic book. And it was before the show started, so I did a thing with Rick right here, and there's a zombie hand gonna grab him. It's still one of my favorite pieces because of the force perspective and the energy and everything. Yeah, ready for the 72-hour stream, definitely. I'm going to be going on at 11 instead of 10. And I'm going to be building the UCS B-Wing. And if I get 500 subscribers before then, we'll do a giveaway too. So share the channel. This was a Max book, I think, or I forget the guy's name, Sam Keith book. Did some logos for people. Just, a lot of stuff. But I've been so far out of it. This is one of my favorite comic books too, The Ray. It was redone. You can see 94. I was still learning how to draw. And I was learning from comic books. So there's the Max. I really like this drawing. This is like me as a character, and then another friend's character, and then another friend's character, and kind of put them all together. But this is about the time I was getting into the swing of things, really. I was really digging the forced perspective kind of stuff. I know there's more. I really need to pull these out into like just art and photos, but I haven't done that. Because a lot of these are old and I kind of don't care. I mean, there's like pictures of me as playing soccer. A lot of sketches, Silver Sable. Oh, this was funny. You had to pick your favorite comic book character, and then everybody would, on the message board, we get bracketed up. And so then, like, let's say your favorite character was Batman and mine was Silver Surfer. I had to draw a picture of Silver Surfer kicking Batman's butt. So that's what this was. And then the people in the thread would vote on it, and whoever got the most votes for their drawing would move on. So that was fun. Silver Surfer is my favorite character. I like drawing him a lot. I have another one where he's like owning Shazam or something, but I don't remember where it is. So this is that book that I did. This was some like part of the game part where you had to click a specific type of seed or something in the allotted time. And so every time you would click on it, the little bird would jump out and get a seed and come back. So you had to draw all the pigeons in different modes and all the backgrounds. I mean, it took forever. This was a long project. What is that one? That's not mine. So I also did a thing called the 100 Artists Project, where I was getting people to send me artwork, and then I would scan it and put it into a book. Or I would take the raw artwork and keep it in a leafed notebook and auction it off, and the proceeds would go to the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund or the Hero Initiative, which was like helping veteran. One was legal battles for comic book artists. The other one was like medical and end of life care for comic book artists. So I've got these tattoos, right? This is the only other tattoo I have, and it's on my back. This was something I did a really long time ago, and it was for a sci-fi drawing or sci-fi book I was writing, and these are some of the aliens that were in it. And I really liked it, and so a friend of mine was like, my boyfriend is starting up a tattoo thing, and he wants to test it on people. I'm like, I'll do it. And I just happened to have that drawing, so here's an echo from like what's it called, Hawkeye, the Hawkeye series. This was kind of a newer one. But again, these are drawings I haven't done in a while. This is also one of my favorites. It's combining all the memes. So there's pirate, robot, ninja, hobo, and zombie. So if I were to get another tattoo, I might do this one. I just think it's hilarious. Let's see. So some of the art in here is not mine. It's from this 100 artist project where I would gather. And the other part of it was I got one notebook and I would mail it, or sketchbook, and everybody would draw on it and then mail it to the next person. And the idea was to send it to a lot of people, and then it would get full, and then you'd auction off the sketchbook. Sketchbook got lost. So let's see. There's a red Sonia. Some commissions in here. So this is one I did. I actually have a shirt of this one. Pokemon Z. So if Ash were a Saiyan, that was pretty funny. Yeah, so that's it. Again, did some lettering for people. I liked lettering. It was kind of basic and mindless, and it was real fun. Let's see, I also did, yeah, this is some of the other sequential work that I did. I kind of like this panel. I don't like the head here. It's a little wonky. Let's see. Oh, this is from the Ash Can comic that I did. Yeah. So this same guy. Actually, I won't show that. That's a little weird. This is one I did for a friend's book cover. Inside yeah. She was. These people had a daughter with a a rare neurological disorder, where her corpus callosum, the network that joins your hemispheres, wasn't fully formed, and so she had a lot of issues with speech, and they thought she was autistic at first, but it was definitely this thing, and so they were able to like go through therapies and figure out all kinds of stuff, and so they wrote a book called like Skylar's Monster or something like that, where they talked about being a parent to this person. So this was the artwork that I did for it. So that was pretty cool. I'm trying to see if there's more. Oh yeah, I tried to do a character design for this golf game I was playing at the time. That was fun. This is actually one of the more recent ones I did for the kids' moms. Pollo Loco. She requested it. I still think it's great. So there was a thing where no, that's not it. This was when I was really heavily influenced by like Whilst Portacio. This was I think this is one of his characters from like Wetworks or something. You can tell where I was learning. I was learning to draw by reading Jim Lee and Whilst Portacio and Ron Lim and some other of my favorites. And it really shows because I did not understand anatomy. I was just drawing what I was looking at. So this was, I did a commission for, I don't know, I should separate this out. A friend wanted me to draw his kid with Anakin Skywalker. The faces are all wonky, but then, you know, I did a full color render of it and everything. And it kind of turned out kind of like this I did another one for another friend's daughter. So, yeah, that's it. I've been showing that way too much. So I think that's about it for today. I'm going to stop here because the next thing I need to do is put my phone up here and do a time lapse of this. So I'll record drawing it and then inking and coloring it. And then I'll also color this guy. It won't be time lapse, but I'll do some watercolor on him. So I'll post these when they're done on Instagram. I haven't done art in a while, so it's kind of fun to get back into it a little bit. But that's it for me for now. So thanks for being here. And I don't know if I'll be back on Tuesday, but then Thursday, I may be doing some mock building on the stadium just to kind of keep that going. That may be a little weird because I'll be jumping back and forth from the camera. But yeah, so thanks for hanging out, guys, and we'll talk to you. Oh, a week from now will be 72-hour Lego community stream. My time will be right after Brick Hive, I think. Good Morning Brick World with Brick Hive and Doc and whoever else they have as a guest. So I'm sure that will be high energy, lots of people, big community thing, and then we'll just be doing me by myself. So get ready for that downshift. But yeah, come back 11 a.m. Central next week, and I'll be here. So you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.